Just over 3 weeks to go before the first round of polling in Uttar Pradesh, and full-fledged politics has broken out. So I could have used a cricketing parallel, as I often do, and said that maybe the power play overs are on right now, but today is not the day to draw cricketing parallels because you are losing so badly in South Africa, a series we should have won in a canter. And we now know the big problem with our cricket, which has been swept under the carpet, even for people like us, the fans, because our bowlers were bailing us out all the time. The problem is that our batting has been on the decline now for the past 3 years. Today we have a situation where we go to play with 5 specialist batsmen. That's important for winning overseas. But 3 of those 5 don't pick themselves in the team automatically. That is Rahane, Pujara and Mayank Agarwal. And that creates a big hole. For the past couple of years, we've been overlooking this, even at home, because our bowlers are bailing us out, not just with the ball, but also with the bat towards the end. This time that hasn't happened and we've lost. So this is not the day for me to draw any cricketing parallels here or use any cricketing metaphors. So let me use one from boxing. At least that at the moment is less hurtful. Cricket is hurtful. So boxing, this is now the 2 sides are exchanging initial blows. They are just sparring initially, checking each other out, probing each other's defenses and also building psychological pressure. So first thing, it's very clear in UP now that there are 2 sides in this contest. That is the BJP and SP. There is no third or fourth side. Maybe BSP will matter for a bit, but we will see BSP will matter mostly to the extent that it's able to hang on to its Dalit vote or at least its Jatav vote. And if it loses its non-Jatav Dalit vote, where would it go? Does it go to the BJP? Does part of it go to the Samajwadi Party? We don't know. But beyond that, BSP at this point is not in the front. This is not a 3-horse race as has been the case in the past. Now that changes many equations, because a 3-horse race, a party getting 30% can come to power in Uttar Pradesh. But a 2-horse race, those percentages, or 2.5-horse race, those percentages can change. I know the Congress is also there, and the Congress has had an achievement, and that achievement is after a long time, Congress party under Priyanka Gandhi, she's worked really consistently and persistently in Uttar Pradesh. Since 2009, I would say for the first time, has demonstrated that it also exists on the ground. If that happens, that's progress for Congress party. Otherwise, it's not in the reckoning. So in BJP versus SP, the initial sparring, the initial exchange of blows, who's winning and what's being delivered. So if you just go, these are very early days, like the first few seconds of a bout. In the very early days, it looks like Samajwadi Party has made a beginning. They are the ones who are off the blocks first. And what has started in UP is what usually starts in UP, which is defections. And what happens in Uttar Pradesh is, usually you would say, okay, an assembly of 400, 105, BJP has 300 plus already. So what if 10 or 12 or 13 or 14 defect to the other side? Because you know what? In the Hindi heartland, where everybody claims to be a political pundit and probably is better than me, they use a term called Mossam Veganic, which in English sometimes will say Weathervane, but Weathervane is a bit boring. Mossam Veganic is more fun. So Mossam Veganics are people, or weather scientists in politics are people who can figure out which way the wind is blowing or which way the wind will blow. So if you see the history of pre-election defections in Uttar Pradesh, usually you will find that defectors on the eve of an election have a good sense of which side might be doing better, because they are people with no ideology, no commitment. They want to end up on the winning side. You want to see how it works? So I get data from Trivedi Center for Political Data at Ashoka University, and this I have spotted in a Gilles Bernier article on the Mojo, where he says that in the last election, 2017, the BJP fielded 65, that is 65 defectors, 65 turncoats. And what happened? BJP fielded 65. Between Samajwadi Party and BSP, they fielded 29 and 25 respectively. So that is 54. The Congress Party fielded 10. So that becomes 64. So the BJP had more defectors as its candidates, defectors or people or quote unquote talent it had imported mostly from BSP, some from SP, some from Congress, but mostly from BSP. So BJP had one more than SP, BSP and the Congress put together in defectors because they were 29, 25 and 10, 64. But where is the difference? The difference is that in the final count, when the votes were counted of the 64 turncoats, Dal Badloos, Ayaram, Gayarams, whatever you may call it, that BJP had fielded, 52 had won. That's an 80% strike rate. It is quite incredible. On the other hand, the other parties who had fielded 64 only saw 7 of them winning. So that's almost like an 11% strike rate, right? So 11% from that side won, but 80% from the BJP side won. Now, once again, defections are also qualitatively different and they determine what these indicate. So one set of defections is when people move towards a party, pre-poll defections, which they think is going to win, right? That might have been the case with those who went to the BJP in 2017. The other category are those who then think that the party they are with or the party where they might want to be is not going to give them tickets. So they go someplace else. So those are the ones who don't end up doing so well. So right now, we can't say for sure what is the motivation of the people who are right now leaving the BJP to join Samajwadi Party, except to say that at this point, movement is mostly in one direction. Although one Samajwadi Party MLA, I'll mention his name to you, has also joined the BJP over the past couple of days. One Congress MLA also, but Congress MLAs anybody can pick right now because they are more or less rudderless. But the movement is towards SP and it does look like there is some oomph in the SP proposition right now. So what I'll now do is I'll run through the list of this new joinees from BJP to Samajwadi Party and one also to Jayant Chaudhary's Rashtriya Lok Dal, but that is now an ally of Samajwadi Party. So we see that as one group challenging the BJP. Now, Swami Prasad Maurya, by all means, the most important BJP person right now to defect. He was a key minister. He was a minister for labor, employment, coordination, and is also a very strong leader of his Maurya community, which is an OBC, other backward caste. See, the key thing in Uttar Pradesh also is that while the Yadavs, who are the largest OBC group, stay steadfast with Samajwadi Party as they have done consistently, how many of the non-Yadav OBCs can the BJP take away? And there, each one of these groups mattered. So Swami Prasad Maurya is a leader, a strong leader of the Maurya community. Now, he's not the only one because BJP still has Keshav Prasad Maurya, who's like the number 2 in their cabinet, who's also from the same community. But Swami Prasad Maurya is a substantive presence in Uttar Pradesh politics. So much so that his daughter, Sanghmitra Maurya, right now, currently, is the BJP MP from Badaयूं in Western UP. Now, Swami Prasad Maurya before this has been a key minister in BSP as well. He now represents Padrona. Padrona is also the constituency generally from where Congress party's RPN Singh comes. And Maurya has been winning for a long time. In fact, going right back to 1996 when he first became MLA. 96, 97, he became a cabinet minister. 2001, he became leader of opposition in the state assembly. He also became leader of the house. 2002, he became cabinet minister. 2002-03, he was leader of the house. So he's been a substantive presence for more than 2 decades now. 2007 to 9, he was in Mayawati's cabinet. So his route has also been BSP, BJP, SP, right? And you will see this pattern now repeating. You can almost draw a perfect triangle like that, although in case of some, it gets to be a bit more complicated than merely a triangle or a rectangle, because people also go up and down or sideways quite a bit. So this is the most important of the defections right now. And that is why you've seen statements from Prasad, Maurya and others saying it's a mistake, please come back. BJP has not shed a similar tear for anybody else as yet. Then you have Dara Singh Chauhan. Now Dara Singh Chauhan is also an OBC, other backward caste. He's from a caste called Lonia Rajputs, who are OBCs in Uttar Pradesh. Now, our caste politics and our caste makeup also is fascinating, because it seems that Lonia Rajputs are those soldiers who crossed the Loni river to come into UP after the battle, after one of the key battles between Aurangzeb and his brother Dara Shikoh, who he ultimately killed. Because Shah Jahan would have preferred Dara Shikoh to get the throne, but Aurangzeb fought with him. And so it's one of those battles that it seems that some soldiers left Rajasthan and came into UP. They are called Lonia Rajputs. So while they might draw their kinship with Chauhan Rajputs of Rajasthan, in Uttar Pradesh, they are an other backward caste. So Dara Singh Chauhan, again, the same route, BSP to BJP. BSP expelled him for anti-party activities just before he defected to the BJP, that is 2015. He was now in the BJP cabinet, Forest and Environment Minister. He was also a BSP MP, Member of Parliament, between 2009 and 14. Again, how many votes does he command? We don't know. But now, in a straighter fight in Uttar Pradesh, these votes are going to matter a lot more. So for Samajwadi Party, it's critical, it's life and death that too many non-Yadav OBC votes do not go to the BJP. So that is why Akhilesh Yadav is reaching out to all these OBC leaders who are currently in the BJP. Third is Dharm Singh Saini. Dharm Singh Saini is an Ayurvedic doctor. Again, the same route, BSP to BJP to SP. Perfect triangle if you draw it. In 2016, a year before the last election, he joined the BJP. He's also an OBC. Sainis are the Mali caste, or the people who grow vegetables and things. So he's Saini caste, OBC in Uttar Pradesh, 2016, joined the BJP from BSP, started with the BSP, first elected MLA in 2002. So he also goes back a long time. He was always seemed to be very close to Mayawati, then fell out because most of these people are into it for power. Now he's an Ayurveda doctor, so he also had the Ministry of Ayush. I don't know how much it counted for in Yogi cabinet. Frankly, I also don't know how much did any ministry count for in the Yogi cabinet, because these are one man, one leader cabinets, one leader government. So ministers don't matter so much, but to the extent that he had the mantle of being a minister, he was Minister for Ayush in Uttar Pradesh. He comes from Saharanpur area, that is in the western UP area. So he's also gone now to Samajwadi Party. Next, number 4 is Mukesh Verma. Mukesh Verma, yet again OBC, other backward caste. That's the Lodh or Lodhi Nishad caste. Now that caste has a lot of votes all across UP, particularly in Budelkhand, etc. So Mukesh Verma, he has a dominant voter base of his own in Shikohabad, which is not that far from Delhi. Now, he's not always won Shikohabad, and his journey has also been the same, consistent triangle, BSP, BJP, SP now. So last time when all these people went from BSP to BJP, they were successful. So to that extent, you can say that they are good Mossam Veganics. But you can't be hailed like that just because you are successful once. You have to then be like someone like Ramvilas Paswan, who's always successful with his movements, almost never ended up on the losing side. So these people don't have such a fantastic track record as yet in figuring out the wind direction before an election. But still, He went from BSP to BJP. Now look at his own electoral history. In 2012, he was a BSP candidate, lost to Samajwadi Party. 2017, won for BJP from the same seat by more than 10,000 votes. So Samajwadi Party now thinks that in that area, he might bring in some votes also, particularly from his community. Lodh community has been voting for BJP predominantly. Remember, Kalyan Singh, the former Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh from the BJP, also was from Lodh community. Next, you have Roshan Lal Verma. Roshan Lal Verma, again, exactly the same route. BSP, BJP, and now SP. Before 2017, he was with BSP. He's an OBC also from Kurmi caste. He's now with SP. Brajesh Prajapati from Prajapati caste, OBC. Exactly the same route. It's now repetitive. BSP to BJP, back to SP. He's been a member of the Scheduled State Backward Classes Commission for a long time, under various parties, while he's been with different parties. 2017, he won as a BJP candidate. Now he's not gone back to BSP, he's gone to SP. So one thing is quite clear, there you can draw a straight line, that nobody is defecting to the BSP. Even the former BSP people are not going to the BSP. So that is a clear trend, that these people or people who are on the ground are not expecting BSP to do very well. If at all they see somebody challenging the BJP, it is the Samajwadi Party. Now next is Bhagwati Prasad Sagar. Now Bhagwati Prasad Sagar is a Dalit, is a scheduled caste from Dhobi caste, or washerman caste. Again, BSP to BJP, BJP to SP. 1991, he got elected as a BJP MLA. 2007 and 2012 as a BSP MLA. Then 2017 as BJP. So he is not exactly a triangle. In fact, he's done the full square. So he is BJP, BJP to BSP, BSP to BJP, and BJP now to SP. Hasn't gone back to BSP. That is the important thing. He represents Bilhaur Assembly constituency. Bilhaur is not far from Lucknow. In fact, I do remember in 1989 general elections, landing up in Bilhaur late night to catch hold of Arun Nehru, who was then contesting from VP Singh's party in that election against Rajiv Gandhi's Congress party. Now number 8, that is the lone Brahmin or upper caste in this group of defectors. That is Avasthi Bala Prasad, who again has gone BSP, BJP, SP. He's a 5-term MLA. So obviously he commands some clout in his constituency. In 1991, he was a BJP MLA. Then he was BSP 2007 and 12, BJP again in 2017. So again, not a case of the triangle. Right now, BSP, BJP, SP most recently, but he again has done the full square, except that he hasn't gone back to where he started. He's now gone to Samajwadi Party. He comes from Dharuhada in Lakhimpur area where BJP might face a little crisis right now, because that is where these incidents of killing of farmers took place. So this is the region where BJP is also hoping that it will be able to hold on to its Brahmin vote desperately, thanks to Ajay Kumar Mishra Teni, who's a central minister, whose son is currently in lockup, accused of murder and a lot more. Next is Vinay Shakya. Vinay Shakya from Shakya community, again in OBCs, again gone BSP, BJP, SP now. He's been very close to Swami Prasad Maurya and generally has moved with him. So that is then seen as a combined move. So he's gone in. He also strengthens the Samajwadi Party in Shakya community. Now that is not to guarantee that all Shakya voters will move with him. But these are signals as election process has started, as campaigning has started. And then the famous and redoubtable Avtar Singh Bhadana. Now Avtar Singh Bhadana is a most formidable Gujar leader, sort of south of Delhi, usually in Haryana, and he's been linked quite a lot with mining in Aravali Hills, etc. Now Avtar Singh Bhadana has won from Congress party many times. He went from Congress to BJP and has been a 4-time elected MP. Congress to BJP, 3 times he was elected from Faridabad in Haryana. one's from Meerut. So one's from across the river, Yamuna as well, from UP, in western UP. Generally, demographically, the areas are not that different, just because there is a river in the middle. In fact, Yamuna these days is almost a non-river. It doesn't change the demographics so much. So 3 times from Faridabad, once from Meerut. He is one from Congress party. He then joined the BJP. So in fact, 2019 election, he's also a remarkable character. Characters like him make our politics so interesting. In 2019, he joined the BJP. He joined the BJP, but BJP did not give him the ticket from Faridabad. So he contested on the Congress ticket. He resigned from the BJP, but BJP never accepted his resignation. This also happens in Indian politics. So he contested from Congress, but lost Faridabad, as Congress lost every seat in Haryana. So he lost. He has not joined Samajwadi Party, but he has joined Samajwadi Party's ally, RLD or Rashtriya Lok Dal, headed by Jayant Chaudhary. So he's in the same camp as well. There are some other changes also. 2 MLAs of Apna Dal. Apna Dal is headed by Anupriya Patel, the daughter. We have told you that the faction headed by her mother, that is Apna Dal Kamerawadi. Kamera is just sort of native speak for काम करने वाले, मजदूर. आप कौन लोग हैं? हम कमेरे लोग हैं, right? So Apna Dal Kamerawadi is run by her mother. But these 2 were MLAs from Apna Dal, which is allied with the BJP. Anupriya Patel, the daughters Apna Dal. These 2 have left, Chaudhary Amar Singh and R.K. Verma, and they've both gone to Samajwadi Party. Apna Dal also represents a small OBC caste, that is the Patel or Kurmi caste, particularly in eastern Uttar Pradesh. And then one lone defection to the BJP of a serving MLA, that is Samajwadi Party's Hariom Yadav, who's gone to BJP. So you can also see, since it's all about caste ultimately, what is it that the BJP is targeting from the Samajwadi Party? They are targeting whichever Yadav they can find, because they know, just as Samajwadi Party knows, that the BJP's strength has been that it's been able to get the votes of a lot of non-Yadav OBCs. So they've gone out and collected non-Yadav OBC leaders from the BJP. Similarly, BJP knows that its main rival, SP's strength, is the Yadav vote. So they've also tried to reach out to any Yadav they can find in SP who will defect. So this one has defected. So all these are early days. This is the beginning of what promises to be a very interesting and very engaging battle. I'm only wishing that this COVID tsunami goes away, that it is indeed like a flash flood, as they are saying in Europe, etc. Now, Europe, South Africa, that it comes, rises very fast and then goes away. It doesn't inundate the place. It doesn't stay there for a long time. I'm hoping that this Omicron in India also behaves the same way as it's done in South Africa and Britain and in Europe. And if so happens, probably we'll also get to travel in this Uttar Pradesh elections, because this is not something anybody should be missing, at least not anybody who lives on understanding, studying, talking about, writing about politics.